Hey everybody, welcome back. Jennifer and
Dave.
And we are in the Ram. Sorry.
That's right.
Why do I still say Dodge Ram? It's not. It's Ram. It's Ram.
That's right.
But we're in the Ram.
It's the 2025 Ram 1500 Tungsten Edition, which is our most premium truck.
Bless you.
Cancelled.
As Dave said, it's the most premium truck in the world. At least it is for Ram.
And that is true. So one of the themes about this truck is we made everything standard. The only option is a trailer tow group, which not everyone will want. So it's an option. Everything else is standard. The 14-inch screen, the passenger screen, the high output engine, the panoramic sunroof, everything that would be optional on other trucks is standard on this truck. The next thing that we do with this truck to make it more premium is to bring in premium materials that are very authentic. So where you see something that looks like carbon fiber, it's actually carbon fiber.
This is carbon fiber.
Yes, and these trim panels here, that's carbon fiber. We try to use real metal where we can, so the shift knob is real metal, so when you touch it you get that little bit different temperature to it. Our badge here on the center console, which is VIN specific, is real metal on the outside with the clear overlay. So that's something that's unique to the truck. Natura Plus seat surfaces, all real leather. So we try to bring all that stuff in. We already talked about the sound system. We moved the seat controls up here because the seats are now 24-way seats.
So the seat controls are now on the door, a la Mercedes. And going back to the sound system, this is a Klipsch reference Premier with
23 speakers.
23 speakers. We're gonna jam. We're gonna jam. It's gonna be good. And let's talk about this engine, because this is all new.
That's right. So the Hurricane line is new for Ram for 2025, and there's two different versions of it. There's the standard output version, which is the first one that will show up. We use that in like a bighorn level trim or a tradesman level trim where you're needing more power.
Okay.
So that gets you into the 400 horsepower range.
All right.
That's roughly equivalent to where our Hemi was previously,
right,
in terms of output. But it's a much more efficient engine, both in terms of lower emissions and in terms of fuel economy. So we get better fuel economy with the same power output.
Nice.
So there's some people that want to hold on to that Hemi. It's really about the experience. If we can get them to drive that truck, they're super satisfied with how it performs, how smooth it is, how refined it is, and how well it works with the 8-speed transmission.
Gotcha. To
give you the truck-like capability and experience. This version of the Hurricane is the high output version. As I said before, it's 540 horsepower, 521 pound-feet of torque.
That's nothing to sneeze at.
Nothing to sneeze at. That's the highest output that we've had in our light-duty truck outside of the TRX.
Okay.
Previously. So it's an optional engine in other vehicles like the limited trim next to us. It's standard here on Tungsten. Again, the theme is authentic and standard.
Nice. I like it. Let's take it for a spin. So what does this weigh?
This one of the other positives about this new powertrain is it weighs a little bit less than does a Hemi. That puts this truck in the mid 5,000 pound range, which is pretty typical for a light duty truck. This truck is heavier in some ways because of the high feature content, the leather seats, the panoramic sunroof. That all adds a little bit of weight. This powertrain, we do save a little bit versus the outgoing powertrain. So right in that 5,000 pound, mid 5,000s, you got a 7,100 pound GVW.
Okay.
So we have some light duty trucks that have that 1,800 pounds of payload.
What do we have for towing capacity in here?
And towing capacity on our light duties is up to 12,000 pounds. This one is a little bit less just because, again, of all the content that's in it. I think it's 9 and change.
9 and change.
We're also going to experience air suspension. So standard air suspension on this truck, that's something that's unique to Ram. That does a couple of things. It gives us the ride quality that we're experiencing. and it also provides adjustability. So right now we're in normal ride height mode, so that's roughly equivalent to what our steel suspension truck would be.
Okay.
So as we pull out here, you'll get a chance to feel the acceleration that's available.
It's not bad.
And it's a lot of acceleration, but it's very refined. You'll notice the transmission shifts are very quick, and you don't lose power from the engine when you make the shift, because it's got a broad power band to it. The other thing that you'll notice now that we've gotten up to speed, automatically the air suspension has dropped down, and now it says aero mode.
Yeah, I see aero with 2 lights down here.
Yeah, and that's also reflected here. There's 5 different ride heights. You have entry exit, which you can select when you come to a stop.
Okay.
Then you have aero and normal ride height, and then you have your off-road ride height. So
what sort of clearance do we get when we're in that off-road, the maximum?
I can't quote you the number.
Okay. So now it just flashed up me normal ride height achieved.
Yeah, so we were back at a lower speed, so it brought you back up again. And if we maintain a higher speed, it will eventually drop down to the aero again. And that's completely transparent to you as the driver, in terms of you don't actually feel it moving up and down when you're driving, and it doesn't require your input to change. Right? You don't have to select it.
Right.
You can.
I can manually select it, but now the system knows what to do.
If you tried to select an off-road ride height right now, it would reject it because our speed is too high.
Okay.
So there are controls that way.
And over here on the Speedo, I see a little Ram truck in there with the lanes here, and if I get close to this white line over here, it lights up yellow. So I've got lane keep assist, I'm assuming.
You have lane departure warning and lane keep assist. We also have on this truck level 2 and level 2 plus, which level 2 allows for lane centering.
Okay.
You still have to keep your hands on the steering wheel. On these roads out here, that's the maximum level of automation.
Gotcha.
On certain roads, level 2 plus will come into play where you can actually take your hands off the steering.
Hands off.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's one of the things is that there's a lot that's automated here. You can have automatic air conditioning or temperature control. We allow for automatic operation of the air suspension and a lot of automation to the driving experience itself.
And we got a big old honking screen right here.
Yeah, there's a ton of screen space in this truck. The standard audio screen here is a 14-inch screen. You have a 12-inch cluster, fully digital on that side. We've got the passenger display screen here, and up here, I'll get in front of the camera for a second, we have a digital rear view mirror. So that's a lot of screen space that's providing convenience, information, and technology. So, for example, on the passenger display screen, I can select navigation destinations and send them over to this screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I can use this while we're driving and type because you can't see it.
Right, I cannot see that screen at all.
Right.
From here, it looks black.
That allows also for the passenger to use that for videos and for games and those type of things. There's a HDMI input down here that you can connect to from your phone, and it allows you to mirror your phone screen here on that screen. You can also adjust audio over here as well.
Okay. And the reaction times on the screen, just from getting in and playing with HVAC, lickety split. It's not. There's not really lag here. If I want to do the temperature, it's tracking with me really quick.
That's right, and it's got all the normal pinch and swipe type operations as well, and those are also instantaneous. So it's a very tablet-like experience.
Yeah, that's quick. That's nice. And I've got fan speed hard buttons here and an auto hard button for the HVAC.
That's right. It's one of the things that we try to do is provide very detailed screens that you can interact with, but then also provide redundant controls for things that are very important. So you have driver's side temperature up and down, passenger side temperature up and down. You've got the fan speeds that you mentioned. You can change the mode from floor to defrost to panel and in between. We have both front and rear defrost selections and recirc. So those are all redundant controls that you can select and do some things in further detail on the soft buttons that are in those particular screens. Then we also have hard controls for the trailer brake control and the steering for trailer reverse control here in the center.
And on the steering wheel, I've got some volume control and channel selection on the back here.
Yes, and it's also, you have up and down on both sides, and then you have a button in the middle on both sides.
Right.
And those would either select different presets in your audio or different sources. So if you push the middle button on the left side, that can change from Sirius satellite radio to FM to CarPlay, for example, or allows you to tune up or tune down.
I've got cruise on the right side, and then my interaction with this big, you said 12.3 inch screen here?
Yes.
That I've got, and I'll show this, but I've got, toggling through, I've got a bunch of different things, sort of like the performance mode in the old TRX. I can see all kinds of vehicle info with a gauge summary from oil temperature, water temperature, battery, all of the things that you might want to see when you're doing heavy truck stuff.
That's right. And there are screens there that will show engine temperature and transmission temperature, so engine coolant and engine oil. So you can monitor all that stuff while you're working the truck in the way trucks get worked, so that you can see all that information, and it'll still have a persistent speedometer that's there in the top center.
Yep.
So that matches up. We also have a heads-up display in this vehicle.
And is that standard?
Yes, in the Tungsten model, that is standard. And it's also customizable, so you can make it very simple so that it just shows the speed limit, for example. You can turn it off if it's something that you don't like, or you can make it more detailed, which would be the way I would use it, where it will have your lane departure and lane centering indications up there, have your navigation up there, so your next turn,
Okay.
in addition to your speed and the current speed limit. So you can see the speed limit displayed in the cluster over there.
Yep.
You can see it here, and you can see it in the...
I've actually got it right now.
Yeah.
In there. I've been a long-time proponent of head-up displays in all cars. I think it should be a standard thing. As an aviator, you know, it's eyes out of the cockpit. And especially as we move towards more touchscreen sort of things, the ability to be able to look here, have some, you know, basic things here with some hard buttons like you talked about, that's idyllic.
That's right. And that's what I've found I'm driving a limited truck currently that has a heads-up display.
Okay.
I put as much information up there as possible.
Absolutely.
Because I want to be able to look at it. In fact, these sunglasses have confounded me a little bit because they're polarized, and it dims the heads-up display quite a bit. But having that information up there is huge. I find it even more useful at nighttime when I'm driving.
Okay.
Because I want my eyes to stay adjusted to the outside light level. If I keep looking in at bright gauges and then looking back out, my eyes are adjusting up and down. If I can keep my eyes on the road, my eyes are adjusted, and I can monitor my cruise control set speed, my speedometer, lane departure, next turn.
So let's talk about mileage a little bit. You mentioned that this new Hurricane engine is better on fuel economy. It's not a thirsty V8. So it's showing right now, you know, sort of that current miles per gallon. I've seen numbers as high as right now 80, because I'm foot off the gas going downhill.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting 97 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
But with my foot on the throttle, I've seen that mid-20s kind of regularly since we started driving. What do you sort of expect mileage to be in this engine with all that power?
It's as I mentioned, the standard output is going to get a little bit better than where our Hemi was. So that gets you into the low 20s, not quite to 25, but low 20s on the highway. This is a little bit less because of the higher power. So it still gets you to 20 miles on the highway. You can see that the current average is lower than that, but everyone that's driven the truck today has been trying out the power.
Doing that?
Yeah. So depending upon how you're driving, it obviously influences the fuel economy. It's always been that way.
So we're showing a 404 mile range. We're not on full. Like, we're not quite at 3/4. We're sort of halfway between 3/4 and full. So how many gallons of fuel is this thing going to hold?
So in all of our light duty trucks, the standard fuel tank size is 26 gallons. This truck has the 32-gallon tank.
Okay. Turn radius is pretty good.
Yeah, the maneuverability and handling for the truck is really exceptional. So we know that the people that are buying this truck are either moving up through the lineup. They've had pickup trucks before, maybe all their life.
Sure.
And this is the truck that is the payoff, right? I've made it. I'm going to spend a lot of money on a truck, but I expect everything in the truck.
Right.
We also see people moving into the truck space from other luxury segments when you have this level of appointment and refinement. So it's important for us to deliver on all of that content. But they're also looking for the overall experience. So the ride quality, the quietness of this truck, all have to deliver luxury level experience.
So the only thing that I've noticed on the luxury front is some wind noise. This is a crappy road. I had a different vehicle on this road earlier and they have all kinds of tire noise. I'm not getting that here. I am getting wind noise, but we've got huge mirrors. So it's going to be coming from that. There's no way around that. You can only make mirrors so aerodynamic.
Yeah.
But I'm not yelling to talk to you. You're not talking super loud. So we can carry on a conversation at 65 miles an hour.
There is
intrusive.
But this particular road surface, as you noted, is pretty rough. So if we turn on to a smoother road surface, the tire noise would actually drop down a little bit. A little bit of wind noise. We do put bigger mirrors on. These are the standard mirrors.
Okay.
And we have one larger size mirror in the trailer tow group, which is what I said. That's one of the reasons it's optional. If you're not a frequent trailer tower, if you don't have large trailers, you don't need that big mirror out there. So, yeah, a very refined experience, and the intent is to reduce stress on the driver and make it all more luxurious. So, we're opening the panoramic sunshade here. So, one push of the button gets you
halfway,
gets you the front seats open. And then another push goes the whole way to the back. One thing to point out about this truck too is that the back seat experience is also luxurious.
I'm going to hop back there.
We've got a lot of leg room in the back seat. The back seats recline. The back seats are heated and cooled. We do have the sunroof there, so you've got that open view. And there are power outlets available: USB-A, USB-C. And you can control your vents and whatnot. So the backseat experience is a premium experience as well for the truck space.
Nice. So the steering is a little lighter than I would expect it to be in something this size, but it's pretty direct. There's not, that sort of immediacy where like every little twitch or gust of wind is going to blow you off course. Suspension, the ride is really nice. This is actually a really comfortable ride, I should say.
Yeah, one of the things that we've done on our light-duty truck platform is made electric rack and pinion power steering standard. Power steering has always been variable, so that you have more assist at low speeds and less assist at highway speeds. If you had all that assist, it would feel like you're wandering all the time. When we make it electrically assisted rack and pinion, we can even fine-tune that more. So we can actually bias the steering on a road like this without your input, we know that 2-lane roads tend to be crowned in the middle, which would want to lead you to the right.
Right.
So the electric power steering actually compensates for that a little bit
Really?
without you doing anything.
Huh.
So it's at work, even though you're not providing any inputs there.
And I noticed the little camera right here on the steering column. That's going to watch me for that 2+ hands off or hands on.
That's exactly right. So when you get to level 2, it wants to make sure your hands are still on the wheel, and so it's looking for that. When you get to 2+, it's going to watch your eyes as well. So if you're falling asleep, if your head is down, even if your head is down because you're looking at your phone, which you shouldn't be doing,
Right.
it's gonna alert you to bring your attention back. So even though the truck's driving for you, you still have to keep your attention on the road.
So if I'm not in that cruise control mode where it's helping me drive or driving for me, is this still watching me, or it's going to say, like, you've been looking away for a long time, maybe you should take a break?
Yeah, we do use the camera for that. We have a drowsy driver alert,
Okay.
so we can let you know that. The parameters are a little different though.
Okay.
Right.
And I see I've got a drive modes button over here on the steering wheel as well. So what sort of different drive modes do I have?
Yeah, see where it says
Off-road, which is unavailable.
Yeah.
Snow, auto, tow, sport. We haven't been in sport.
Yeah,
Dave, what have we been doing?
I know, we should have done that from the beginning.
And traction control now is off in sport.
Yeah, because in sport mode, it wants to give you more control to hang it out there a little bit.
Okay. Throttle response is quicker. It downshifted faster.
Yes.
So what parameters do those change? Is it steering reaction? Is it throttle adjustments? Is it suspension at all? What sort of parameters change when I go through those drive modes?
It doesn't change suspension, but the other things that you mentioned as well as shift points.
It's shifting, okay.
Yeah. So it's going to hold the lower gear longer. It's going to downshift faster. So when you're in normal mode, the shift points are delivering a more luxurious experience.
Yep. Almost seamless. They were pretty...
And you can still go to wide open throttle and get full engine output.
Right.
In the normal modes, you get there faster at given throttle input when you're in sport mode.
Okay. Does it change the exhaust baffling or anything like that?
No.
Okay. So when you mentioned people missing that Hemi V8, I think that's the one thing that people are going to be yearning for is that sound. This doesn't sound terrible, but it doesn't have that throaty sound that the V8 has.
Yeah, that's right. And you just can't replicate it exactly
Right.
with a straight 6 versus the Hemi.
Sounds decent.
That's the answer is you want to have a sweet sounding powertrain.
Right.
One that is, when it's producing a lot of power, it sounds very confident. There's no extraneous noise. In this truck, we tune the exhaust to for the luxury intent of this truck.
Okay.
When you get into the Rebel that
Yep.
we're taking off road, the same straight 6 powertrain has a different exhaust note to it,
Okay.
a little more throaty.
Okay.
We just were showing at the state fair the RHO.
Mm-hmm.
It uses the high output straight
Right.
6, and it has a maximum
Same,
throatiness
okay,
to it. So
gotcha.
again, not a V8. It's not going to replicate that. But what we're looking for is that sweet engine sound where you can appreciate the power that it's putting out, and it still has that confident sound to it.
Well, I can say, this has been a pretty comfy ride here. This is definitely one of those vehicles that I can hop in and spend an entire day driving from point A to point Z,
And what we're trying to do with our lineup, in addition to providing just a ratcheting up of trims, so less equipment to more equipment to
Right.
luxury equipment, is to also provide a level of character to the trucks when you're driving them. So you have your entry-level trucks, you have your performance trucks, you have your luxury trucks, you have off-road trucks.
Okay.
So they all have a different intent. So the Rebel has a look and a feel and capability to go off-road. So locking axles and using the air suspension in that case to achieve greater ground clearance.
Right.
In this truck, luxury truck, we're using the air suspension to provide the luxury ride that you feel. So we can create a much different character in the trucks within our light duty lineup. So we change powertrains, we change suspensions, and we can add and bring in new features to achieve that different level of character for each one.
So what I hear you saying, Dave, is you're trying to make a Ram for everybody.
Well, that's true. Everybody that's buying a pickup truck is expecting a certain level of capability. You need clean and dirty storage.
Yep.
That's universal in trucks. I have to have a bed where I can put stuff out there. I want trailer towing capability. So even our most basic entry-level truck has 5,000 pounds of towing capacity from the rear bumper. And then most of our trucks are going to come with a Class 3 receiver hitch. So you have to be able to tow with a truck. More and more so, though, in the truck world, crew cabs are predominant. Crew cabs are now almost 80% of the business.
Wow.
Regular cabs are a much smaller piece of the business, and then you've got the extended cab market that's out there. So the truck space has to deliver on payload, clean and dirty storage, towing, and now more so than ever, the ability to haul people and provide comfort. This truck, in our lineup, is the ultimate of the interior comfort while delivering on all the truck basics that you need.
Gotcha. Well, there you have it, folks. This is the Ram Tungsten Edition with everything, and a sticker price just over $90,000. That's a lot of money, but you get a lot of stuff. Dave, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks. Let us know what you think in the comments.